Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm gonna tell you that the time that I went over to my aunt's place, and we was I think I was like in elementary school, I think I was like 7, 8 years old. I can't remember which one it was, but yeah. So I went over there, help kind of like babysit, my cousins and stuff, And so she was she was sitting down, right, on the couch, and I was sitting on the floor watching, I think it was cartoons. I'm not too sure what I was watching, but I know it was cartoons. Or it could have been, what was that old show what they used to watch back then? One of those shows, I guess. I can't remember what it was. Not Cosmos. It was this old show, Can't remember what it was. What was it? Now I'm gonna think about it. So, anywho, she was watching that, right? And she was like, I have a movie, but I can't remember where it is into my collection, of movies, because the TV was here and like a table was right here, and then it was like movies on the bottom, right? So she was like, I'm looking for a movie, right? So I opened up the door for the movies, and she was like, I'm looking for a movie, and I was like, okay, I'll help you, because she didn't know how to put in the movies or anything like that. I'm talking about my aunt. She didn't know how to put in movies. My mom don't know how to put in movies either. But I'm gonna get to that part, So I was helping her look for the movies, take out one movie, put it into the DVD, and it turns on, right? Some of them was already like ending of I can't remember, but whatever. So I put it in, and she was like, no, that's not the right one, So I took out that movie and put it down, I think we had like 30, 40 movies to go, So I kept putting it in and out, put it in, and she's like, no, that's not it, So I took it out, put it, you get the concept of me. Put it in the movie, taking it out, right? So we went to maybe like I think to the almost to the last, but in the middle. It must have been like 30 movie, So I put in a 30 movie, not thinking that it's a adult movie, So it's gonna be like weird, So I put in, it didn't have no pictures on it or anything, to tell that it was like adult movie, So I put it in, right? And they was doing some adult stuff, My aunt, we watched a couple parts, because we didn't know what kind of movie this was, And in a young girl's mind, she ain't thinking too much, Me, I mean. I don't think my aunt wanted me to watch that adult movie. It was not even in her intentions for me to watch that movie, but somehow we stumbled on that movie. So don't try to give my aunt any backlash. She's a pretty good lady, She teach me a lot of stuff when I was like living with her, So she taught me how to clean, She was very cleansy kind of person, And after a while, I kept kind of missing my mom. So when my mom came to visit, and she was like, she was talking to me, and I was like, oh, I want to go home, and she was like, why my aunt didn't give me the phone and then call her to come pick me up, and I don't know if I sounded kind of mean when I said my aunt was like a clean freak, it was not in my intentions to be kind of mean to her, because she is a nice lady, don't get her like twisted or anything like that, like, oh, she's a bad person because, oh, this happened, it was not in her power to like make me watch that thing, it was not in her control, she didn't know what kind of movie it was, so don't give her too many backlash, I want to maybe put this part into it as well, But yeah, I didn't even watch all the I didn't watch the whole like adult movie, you know. It was like when the person was getting inside the room. So that's the part what I saw, you know. So it was not getting to the nasty parts, you know. So yeah, I'm like, take it out, take it out, take it out. The movie, you know. So I took it out, you know. I put it on the opposite side. She was like, you know what, whatever, you know. Well, I'll go, and then we kept looking for the movie we was looking for, right? After I watched that movie, you know. So I think that's the time that me and my aunt watched adult movie together, kind of. It was maybe like 20 seconds, you know, counting, you know, 1, 2, 3, you know, all up to 20, right? We was watching it, you know. She didn't know it was an adult movie. Of course, I didn't know. I was only like 7, 8 years old, you know. So we kept putting in different movies, you know. And she found the right one, you know. I can't remember what was it. I think it was like I think it was an anime. No, it can't be an anime. I think it was a cartoon movie, or was it something else? I don't know if it was like a learning movie. I can't remember. Gospels. Nope. It was this old show, you know. I bet y'all wouldn't know unless you was in those years, you know. Anyhow, I think it was like in 2000s. I was in elementary. Yeah. I think I was in like fourth, fifth grade. I can't remember. I'm not too sure what we was watching. I know it don't come to mind what I was watching. Soap operas. That's what we was watching. I was living with my aunt. You know, I think this was before I went to the hospital. You know, or was it after? I think it was after I was living with my aunt when I came back to our house. You know, my house. You know. So I think it was after I went with my aunt to live with, you know. And then I became sick, you know, and I had to stay in the hospital, you know. That was like that part, you know. Yeah, it was a couple, yeah. It was a lot of twisted stuff, you know. Like me falling off a tree, you know, end up in the hospital, you know. My grandmother fell on me, you know, almost crushed me to death, you know. She was like almost like in the 400s weight, you know. I could have died then. I could have died when I was born, you know, because I think I was like 1 pound, 1 ounce. I don't remember what it was, but I didn't want to eat, and they had to put tubes and stuff like that, you know. I bet you my mom she would tell any. It's kind of funny because my mom was kind of hilarious, you know, but not in a good way, you know. Because like if my mom like one time when we was going to the dentist, right, and my mom was she was talking, right, and she didn't want to wait into the waiting room to do our teeth, you know, because we was in the dentist, but it was like, yeah. So she was talking to me, and after a while, I came out because I was the first to come out of the dentist, right? And I think it was in, it's gonna sound so stupid. It was like in a mall, but it was a dentist in the mall. I don't know how that even work out, but stuff like that. So my mom was sitting outside of the dentist place, right? Of the mall, right? And she met this lady, right? And she told this lady my whole story. Legitly my whole life. I wouldn't even think that the way when my mom be telling people my story, like, oh, when she had me, I had a lot of problems, you know, when I was born, you know. I was like 1 pound something ounce, you know, I didn't want to eat, you know, and how my grandmother fell on top of me, I almost died. How many times I almost died, you know? She was telling this lady my whole story, you know. And sometimes before, when I was like younger, I really got annoyed by that, you know. But then I don't know if she liked telling the story to random people who she claims to meet, you know. Somehow, to me, I think they are friends to her because the way she be talking to them sounds like she was friends with them for years, you know. Anywho, but yeah. And And sometimes when I was like younger, I usually tell her like, don't be telling people my story, you know. I bet you won't tell her my socials and all these other stuff. Since you're already telling my story, just put it into the part when you have my socials, you know. So that's why I always like had like weird kind of tensions when she always be telling my story, you know. But if I was gonna like put her on like one of my videos, I bet you she would ramble, you know, about my life, you know, and how all these other stuff, you know. Sometimes when like she always blamed me for stupid stuff, you know. I remember one time, right? She thought that I throw away her salt for her eggs, right? And I'm looking at her, I'm like, I didn't even come in the, I went in the kitchen, but I never touched the salt when she was dipping her egg in, right? She always want to blame me for stuff when it's not even necessary. It was not even my fault, you know? It was mostly her fault. She do something stupid or messed up, and she just blames me. Is that even a thing, you know? Comment down below if your parents is like that, you know? Blame you for nothing, you know? Even if you didn't do it, you know? Link in the sky, turn your notification on, and I'm done rambling, guys. Bye.